Uh, would you read this on the phone right here? It's at the bottom. It's five. Go ahead. No. Go ahead.
Loser lives here.
Loser lives here. What does the other one say?
Loser lives here. Let's say loser.
Yeah. Loser lives here. Yeah.
Lives here.
Loser lives here.
Loser.
Yeah, loser. It said loser lives here. Right.
Where's that from? Like,
No. That's on my door. That was on my door. And now I want to explain it to you because when I explain this is going to explain a whole serious concept. No. This is not childish. This is for my daughter. This is from Fatima, and Sakina speaks the same language, and it comes from their mother. So just today, this is wonderful because I want to explain the concept behind this. Most people would like to be a hero to their children, automatically. Most people would like to have love and respect and concern for their children. But there's different ways of looking at this. Number one, with my sons, the government had a policy, and when they were in their teens, they stayed with me in the Masjid, and it was excellent. Well, it wasn't excellent. They was more in Jahiliyyah in their teens, the whole life. They was more in Jahiliyyah than they was into Islam, and they liked Jahiliyyah because my older son he had enough age on him. He's almost 60 now. He's 50. What is this? He must be about 57, 58 now. So when he was young, he remembers all the big cars. He remember all of the importance, and the power and the people coming around and what it gave him. He loved it. He loved every bit of it. Now, when I left, they had those pictures left. Now, my younger son didn't technically remember that because he was 2.5, 3 years old. So he was about 3. So he didn't, while I was gone, he matured. And he remembered me through the pictures that we had, all them Jahiliyyah pictures. And this is the way they wanted me. Now, when I was away, I was doing all that, whatever I was doing. And my oldest son, my wife didn't bring my youngest son, but we had a big meeting, a national meeting down in Tijuana on the Mexican border. And I used to come up to the Mexican border from time to time, and I would bring a radio with a cassette, and I would turn on the radio, and I could pick up the Negro stations up there in L.A., something, and all that. And I would just record. I would run those. If I had an hour and a half, I wouldn't start it and stop it. I would just run the whole thing, all the talk, all the commercials, and I took them back down with me, and so I stayed up on the Negro type thing. But so my oldest son, he was aware of what was going on, and then when I had this big meeting, my wife didn't bring my younger son because then he would have a fresh memory of me. I'm not saying that's why she didn't bring him, but she brought my older son, and it was fine. We had a good time. But I had a national meeting. There was a lot of people there, and we were setting up the next stage to do what we was doing. And he remembers it very well. He said, yeah, I remember that was at the country club, and the racetrack was over there. It was right next to the big racetrack. So we had it at an off time, plenty of rooms, plenty of everything. But you would drive into the parking lot of the racetrack from the hotel. It was a big spread. So my son, my oldest one, he remembers that very well. And so my youngest son didn't remember that too well. But when we got to rolling, when I came home as a full-fledged Muslim, after the third try, I'm ready to go, card-carrying Muslim, ready to roll. And so they was there when they heard my parole officer talking to my wife. I might have had them call and tell y'all that. They were saying, yeah, Dad, we was there. This is what they said, So anyway, we went through a lot of good things together. But I want to get to the point on this about children. I made dua for my sons. I said, basically, I'm asking Allah to keep them alive long enough to get to know what's going on. Because as teenagers, they there with me and they getting sharp. Boy, look at here. They picking up on everything. They said, Dad, that brother act like a B-word personality. You probably know what he's saying. So yeah, it's true. And then, they there with me and they go do they still run around the streets during the day and they come and they stay there, but they're there a lot. We cook there, we live in the Masjid, And they lived there in the Masjid when it was just a dump. I mean, it was water coming in everywhere and we dug up all the floor and it was big rats come in out of the sewer. We had a pistol. We'd be blasting at them boy. I mean, we had them big rat traps. So when they would come in and that big rat trap, and they would be so big, they would be flopping around a little bit. And they lived through it. Then we fixed it up and we did on and on and on. So they was there from the very beginning all the time. And so the government could figure out that those guys are supporting him. They keep him up on what's going on in the neighborhood because they out running all around. He's just going to Muslim stuff. And yeah, I saw so-and-so the other day, Dad. They said da-da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? I'm getting around very well, but you know how young people, they really get around. And they tried to put people on my youngest son. Once they brought, when my youngest son was 16, the people from down in L.A. at the big masjid down there, they brought a brother up there from New York that did all kind of breakdancing, a teenager. And my son looked at him and said, I don't need no friends. In other words, if they brought him to hang around with me, for them, he can now keep track of where I'm going and who I'm around. Because to follow a teenager, 14, 15, boy, you got to be busy. Because they walking everywhere and they doing all this. They jumping over a fence. You got to have a police with them, because the police can't be able to, if they follow them, pretty soon they going to get up on it. Anyway, long story short, I asked Allah to keep them alive, till they understand what's really going on. And Allah kept them alive. I wasn't thinking to ask, oh Allah, make them good Muslims and this, that, and other. course, Allah knows what's going on automatically, everything. But anyway, so the police, I don't know if I showed y'all at one time, just before a program, they would arrest them because then I would be in the program full of people, but I would be technically by myself. And would nobody be aware? Everybody else that was there, they would be on the opposite team. But anyway, so the police kept arresting them. And several years ago, I picked up on something. They would both have photo albums. And they say, yeah, Dad, everybody in their photo album, all these people are dead. All their friends was dead. Not was dead, they're all dead. Their friends are dead over 25 years ago. 20, 25, yeah, 20 years ago. I don't know none made it past that. Dead. I mean, just if I look at their old pictures, I see a kid with I liked him. He had a long natural. He used to turn flips, where he could stand up straight and flip. I got a picture of him riding on the sixth grade picnic when they went over to Angel Island. I helped take him over there. He's right in the air doing a flip. And I said, well, what about so-and-so? Yeah, he long gone. So the police kept sending them to the penitentiary. And at first I was real mad at the police. Then I realized, wait a minute. When both of them were showing me their photo albums at different times, I said, hey, I asked Allah, keep them alive. All of their friends is dead. I mean, literally. Well, what about your homeboy? Y'all be up on the porch? I'm going to just change the subject. In one case, my son the oldest son, he down with several different little cliques. So they was up on the porch at their spot on 96th, and they were just hanging out, like young people do. I guess by that time he's in mid-20s, something like that. Could have been, mid-20s. Could have been touching 30. You know how youngsters hang out a long time. Anyway, so one of his partners from another crew came up and said, hey, man, I'm going to holler at you a minute. Da, 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 da. And he called him off the porch. When he called him off the porch, the rest of the guys sprayed the whole porch and knocked everybody on the porch, like they do around here, same stuff. And they was all his friends. The one that called him down had to be his friend to pull him down. And so that the other guys is not as close to my son. You better hurry up then, because, we can't, you know what I mean? They ready to spring. They getting ready to pop their mask down and do whatever they do. So he went up, he said, man, let me holler at you. So he walked at the porch. There was a house in the back, and you walk through the driveway, and they hang out on that porch. Shoot, they sprayed everybody on that porch and knocked them. And I mean, there's nothing he could do because he's friends of both teams. That's his team. The other people is, for a guy to come up ready to make a move and pull him off the porch, he got to be his friend. Because he's going to see everything that go on. He's going to know who did it. It got to be his, and there's nothing he can do about it, though, because they are all of his friends. And he was telling me that, and I said, so what did you do? Did that give you a message? He just, no. I said, boy, look at here. I said, things is moving slow upstairs. If that happened to me, I said, that would have gave me a message, a big message, Anyway, the same thing with both of my sons. So one time when my son was here with me, do you remember when my oldest son was here? He'd stay at the Masjid. So anyway, we got to lifting iron. I don't know if you remember, that boy got swole. Now before he would get out of prison, he'd get with me and I'd drive with him and I stayed out in front. When we was staying over there, I don't know if you remember all that iron we had. I would stack most of it on. I would have 3/4, I mean 6/4 and maybe a little money. And 6/4, that's 300 pounds in iron. And you know, the bar would be bending down. I'd be rack, rack. And so we got up there and he said, put another quarter on, Dad. That means he was just about doing at 4, you know. Rack, rack, rack. He must have had, his arms must have got up to 20s and he was cut too. But anyway, he was out here because one of the friends, not friends, one of the guys in the neighborhood was taking people's stuff and doing stuff, and they did something to him, and he wasn't packing. So he said, well, okay, I'll just wait, and I'll go get my stuff. And he was telling me about it. I said, I tell you what, man. I said, is he messing with a lot of people? He said, yeah, man, he messing with so-and-so, so. I said, well, come on out here. I'll give you the game on what to do about that. In other words, I'm a professional. I'll show you how to take care of the guy. When he got out here, I kept him out here. And then you notice all of a sudden he just went back home. When the guy got killed, I was just telling him, before he left, I said, don't never get at the front of a line. If a nigga is going around messing with everybody, Oakland, it's just like D.C. You can't do that but a week or a month. That's all. Life expectancy. I said, that's why he realized it. I said, that's why I brought you out here. Hang with me a while. Just come out here and hang. And I got him out here. We lifting the iron and he got to kind of liking it a little. And the point was, but he did catch up with me and iron. You ain't sad, are you, Dad? I said, no. I said, as long as you don't be talking out the side of your mouth, it's fine with me. I mean, I wasn't a slouch around there. I mean, I was racking iron, but he was in his 20s or whatever it is at that time. And so he, you know, and way bigger. If you remember his size, he was way bigger, and he was rapping that iron. Anyway, before he could never catch me because he would get out and we would work out together. And then he'd go back to jail or go to somewhere. Anyway, about this, the whole story. So I showed you the picture about, yeah. Okay, see if you can read what this says at the bottom right here. But anyway, these right here, this is on my door. Can you see what it says? Yeah, loser. Okay, that's just a couple hours ago. I just painted over it, so I got painted. Okay. No. It's great. You got to remember, my life is different than other people's. And I have to understand when God giving you a gift. Here's the gift. Now, Fatima wrote this. Fatima, Bahia, they have the similar idea. Now, what is the idea? Recently, they was getting better. They was seeing, Now, for a long time, when their friends would come around, sometime Sakina's friends would be there, and they said every night, you ought to help, you guys are not going to help your father, because they knew what I was doing, and they would see a few videos or hear stuff, and they would automatically, they're going to pull up the internet. So even they in high school, they knew what it meant, Anyway, so Most people would be very tragic and sad if their daughters said that. Not me. No. Very, very happy. Why? Here's why. It's because they tell them, like Fatima said one time, not long ago, Dad, if you was that serious, though, they would kill you. I said, under usual circumstances, they would. So that's the whole card. Sister Bahia and them. Sister Bahia told them, your father is a dangerous man. And the government, if you don't cooperate, they're going to kill him. Because you've been to the programs, you see what he talks about. You see how he acts. You've seen 1,000 little traps around here. You've seen all of that. It don't work. It ain't doing no good. It just makes him worse. Well, worse is better. So this is what she was sold to them. So they went through some changes and then they cranked in because it made sense to them. And remember, women or girls are different than boys, especially in some cases. Your mother will go if they was gonna hang a Negro pleading with boss man all on the, and boss, she could do that because she's a woman. Okay, so women are concerned about your safety, not about your fulfillment. So to them, your safety is of paramount importance for the children, for this, that, and other. And a lot of women will tell the children this, that, and other because it keeps them safe. I remember when Sakina was 16, she wrote a kind of a letter, and I said, you live your life. Ain't nobody gonna, you don't let nobody interrupt this life you living. You're not gonna get no other one, not on this go round. This is your life. You have to live it the way you want to live it. That's what I told her, and that's what I meant. Maybe she was 16 or 17. But this is what I told her, and this is what I meant. You should live your own life the way you want. And never let nobody tell you it was about hijab and stuff like that. I say, you're at a certain age now. Every decision you make is on you. You don't let nobody run. You don't let, but of course they do in some cases. Anyway, their mother is not very bright. Oh, she's not bright at all. She's with the dumb team. Abdul Malik now, all the women that was around with that, they know all the scuttlebutt. I mean, right now, when Halle Berry run off down the Dixie with the other man, and so y'all remember when she called here on one Sunday or something, was having a program. I'm ready to go to California right now, and I kind of grinned and laughed. I was happy about it, but that was from a long time ago. Everybody was making fun of her and all of that. So I sent her several $1,000s just to, she's living in a trailer trash. Okay. So anyway, I sent her some money. You got to pay it back or this, that, and other. So they get wind of everything. So Sister Bahia, she's not fine like that no more. She's big and fat, or something like that. Well, what do you know? How do you know that? And this was your main competitor. And what? Of course, I listen. I don't never stop nobody and say, well, sometime. Now, explain that position. No. So that means she knows where she's at. She knows all. They know they're all, anyway. So the point is this, is that you get a feeling for who everybody is. And that whole team, I'm telling you, it's an amateur team. I used to call them high school Negroes. Now I've expanded and I refer to them as elementary school Negroes. That means Sister Bahia and them have not grown. They've been demoted. They're going downhill. Because see, I'm stretched. I'm going on out there. And I know what's going on. And they're not going anywhere. They're still, you could tell by behavior, they're still repeating the same dumb stuff. And this last thing about the writing, my daughter was going to write it on the Masjid. I said, she come around the thing a couple of hours ago. So, you're here. I said, yeah. Well, I was going to write this. I said, well, go around and write it on the door, instead of writing it on the masjid, well, let me get to the point instead of rambling. I'm satisfied with what's going on with my children because they're alive. See, the government can't do nothing to Sakina and them because their mama's involved. So their safety, what is a man? A man, see, daughters is different for a man, right? You got sons and you got daughters. You be serious about, probably you just got a little one, but still your mind is, I ain't gonna let no married nigga marry that girl, right? And she can't hardly talk yet, right? But you be thinking about all that stuff. And other little baby in a crib, but nigga better watch out. I tell you, right? This is just, so you want to protect, you feel more protective about daughters than sons. Automatically. So, nothing can happen to them if they catch a cold, if they trip off the sidewalk and get hit by a bus. The government's in trouble because that's what their mama's guarantee was. And she won't know whether they did it on purpose or whether, right? No, so their safety is guaranteed. So I'm happy with that. That's why I'm telling the story. They fulfill their obligation. It just ain't gonna work. It don't work at all. Because, the Quran says about your family, your wives, children, parents, and it's your obligation to do certain things, like this talking about jihad, to go for jihad, whether wives, children, parents, all of them, don't make no difference. Okay, that's incorporated and it's normal. Now, years ago, when my son would be going to jail all the time, he was in the youngest son, had a probation officer, and I was down talking to him. He had a picture of his wife and 2 children, nice family. And he was telling me, well, we was thinking we would do this, that, and another. I said, you don't know what's good for my son? And I was talking real rough to him. He said, if that was my children, I would. I said, I don't do that. That was in 80, must have been 83 or something like that. That was a long time ago. In other words, I felt that way then. No, I'm not going for that. I'm not putting up with, because on the day of judgment, by that time, the children will be grown. They got to stand on their own 2 feet. Not me. And the other thing is, if the crooked government were to touch this button, that button, and this is children, right? They say every man has a price. That's a lie. So far, I haven't found it yet. What they could use to push a button, maybe it's girls, maybe it's boys, maybe it's money, maybe it's prestige. I tell them right now, I don't know what it is, because I don't see nothing that y'all talking about. And plus, as dumb as y'all are, y'all so dumb is you ought to hurt. Boss man, right? He ought to be hurting wherever he's at, hurting in his brain, hurting in his feet, hurting in his whole body. Hey man, the guy is messing up bad in the world, and it ain't come to him yet. Okay, so I'll speed up. I'm sorry. That is wonderful. That's why I took a picture of it. So I know other people are not at that stage, but I am. And this is a stage of doing right or wrong. Now, whether a person or whether we like it or not, our children's lives are on the line right this minute by the environment. There ain't no guarantee this thing's going to be here another 5 years, another 10 years. And nothing is going right. Everything in this society has, I just turned it back to NPR for a little bit to listen to it a little bit. They said something that in the last couple of days, 27 shootings in 21 weeks.
Right. They said there's a mass shooting every day. On average, it's one a day. Whatever that, after 10, I think 10 is considered a mass shooting. So they're saying every day there's a mass shooting.
Look, we gotta technically. I'm really asking for help on this, big help, because a little bit of stuff ain't gonna help nothing. But I'm not changing nothing because of what boss man say. I'm sorry. He's a PUNK and he been one and he's a babbling idiot. And I wouldn't follow him nowhere. And I wouldn't pay no attention to him because he's not sensitive right now. He's hard-headed and stupid, like they used to say about niggas. The man is stupid. I've offered right on this thing over and over again. Boss man, we got to do this, that, and another. But I'm not accepting your proposals so far. You want to be in the driver's seat. If anybody remembers that, I have said, look, we're ready to roll, but you can't be in the driver's seat. You can assist from the background, but you don't need to make no suggestions. You could make one or two every now and then, but you can't run nothing because this is not your time. You look at his luck. His luck, I don't care if it's politics, it's the world. The minute he looks around, he's counting on China to break down and become Americans. China just says, yes, we're going to, this new world with Chinese characteristics. What? Not democratic principles? And the Chinamans tell them almost every day, have you looked at your society lately, man? You ain't got but 2 bridges that'll pass your own test, the OSHA test, something like that. You ain't got but 2 bridges in the United States that could pass a test. Bricks falling off, You know what I mean? That everybody's at the highways. If you would remember a long time ago, boy, it was good smooth highways in them. Oh, they were smooth. They were still new. And not like that anymore. Potholes, everything. When you look at New York, and then you look at China, you look at the difference of buildings. Remember those old boxy, square, tall buildings? The Empire State Building is damn near 100 years old.
The streets in New York are
Oh, don't talk about the streets. The streets, man, when I got there, the first time, and the car was, you knock your wheels out of line. It's unbelievable. And then at that time, it was $6 ago, and now it's 12 or 15, I don't know. And so I asked the guy over, what do y'all do with this money? You know, the guy taking the money. Oh, this is for the highways and for the, I said, well, I almost tore my car up back there. They got sinkholes swallowing up cars here. But anyway, they call it mafia money, so it don't go on the highways. But anyway, let me get back to, I'm satisfied with Allah as Lord, with Islam as the religion, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as the messenger. I'm just satisfied with that. Let me jump right here to one of our favorite hadiths, just a couple of them. It is reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, wealth is not in vast riches, but wealth is in self-contentment. It is reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, verily, Allah says, O son of Adam, find leisure for my service, and then I shall fill up your heart with contentment, and I shall shut up your poverty. And if you do not do it, I shall keep your hand engaged in work, and I shall not close up your poverty. I happen to know that this is true, that wealth is in self-contentment. It is not in bank accounts. And I'm not bragging, but I have never been this contented. Maybe the older or something like that. But this is right at the peak of various types of fitna. When I leave here and I go, it'll be fitna there. Wherever I go, it's going to be dumb fitna, but it doesn't make a difference. They have to find something new. And what I have realized is that they're at the end of their rope because of why redundancy, repetitive. They can't come up with nothing new. They come up with the same dumb stuff. So they can't go, they don't have any other hooks. With children, ex-wives, all the dumb people. I don't say dumb, but they're dumb because they took a government job. And government jobs take people, it's different. If you're smart when you get a government job, you'll slow down. Yeah, because, like they say, some people get 30 years experience. Well, when you take a government job, you get 1 year experience 30 times over. Same old dumb stuff. And what you come in contact with. When you go out on your own, hey man, you out on, even when it's government sponsors like what we was doing, the government is so dumb. With me, they wanted to move me. When I came home, I was so-called black Muslim, and nobody ever seen one before in my neighborhood. They just had, it was back in '65. I'm big and strong and healthy, and I got a job, and I like to work so much because in the penitentiary I used to work on them jobs, and you didn't even get paid. Well, in camp they gave you 50%, 50 cents a day, but we used to bust concrete because I'd be in adjustment center all the time, and they have you digging holes in adjustment center. Even to the poor little kid, you still, man. If you think I like them 16-pound sludges, because when I was a teenager, the white man would have us busting concrete and stuff with them sludge. You get an 8-pound sludge or 16. I said, give me that 16-pound whack, you know. And believe it or not, in adjustment center, you would exercise 5 times a day. Hard exercises. Well, it was hard for them. You know, like military exercises, you go out on the mart before breakfast, jumping up and down, running around the yard, push-ups, you know. And so, and then in the morning, they'd wake you up at 4 o'clock and they would give you a bucket with a gallon of water. First, they'd give you one full of water, and then they would pour another gallon in there on your floor. So you had to sit there and scrub the walls. You know, it was concrete walls, so you could scrub them for years. People still scrubbing them now, probably. You know, it's just punishment. And then you had to dry up the whole floor like with a little towel, you know, a little towel. They give you a little washcloth. It's okay. No, it's discipline. If you wonder where I got discipline from, boss man. Boss man. Nigga going, look here. It's funny because when I was 14, I was still short. Like, you know, a short little nigga talking all that. And then I went to the reform school. I had been to one already, but this one was more like, the first one is we went on night hikes, we went fishing. Oh, it was really like, you know, it was like, they called it Frico Ranch School for Boys, and that's what it was. It was ranch living. It was like, when they'd say you never had it so good, it was fun. We went to school, but we went on night hikes. We went down the beaver swings and swung on ropes in the water. You could see the mountains way off, and the water ran down, and it was still cold when it got to you. You could drink the water in the stream. You could see the fish and chase them around. It was wonderful. Then you go to the next step. The next step is not a penitentiary and it's not a camp. They don't have no gun towers or nothing. But now you're getting disciplined. So when you messed up at Frico, you just stayed there in the company. There's nothing to do with you but play with you. But up there, you go to adjustment center. And the program there is you be on your knees buffing the floor all the time. You have a blanket, little blankets folded for your knees, and you have the blanket on your hands, and you polishing the floor. That's part of they keep you busy. I mean, you didn't polish the floor 10,000 times, but that's your daily routine. The other daily routine is what I told you, but you get up 5 times a day. When I went in there, I was a little short joker like this. Man, when I came out, I was 6'1", and weighed 147 pounds, thin as a rail. I mean, you know, tough. And then they put me on Leonard Williams reminded me of that. You know Lenny Williams from Oakland? Power, Tower, something like that. Mm-hmm. We was at the same place. Really? Yeah, we was there together. And I mean, we were good friends. We was there together. And last time I talked to him, he said, man, when we was on landscaping, you was the head man and you used to be running us to death. Well, the lead boy, you know the way they brainwash you. So the guy that ran the thing was not a dictator. He was a crafty old fellow. So he would let us go up to if we had money on the books, he would let us get dimes off if we finished our work, and we could get a Coke. Coke was a dime, of course. And if you wanted to get everybody else one, so now I'm in shape. So the lead guy, when you're cutting the grass, that's from the old lawnmower days. So you get them big yards and big, it's a jail, big parade grounds and all. So the lead nigga, he the boss man's nigga, so that boss man want him to run. He's running, you running with the lawnmower, and everybody else coming behind you. That's the way you would do it. Say it's 10 guys. You cut the grass, one here, one right behind, and you be in super shape. So either I was on landscape doing that kind of work, or I was in the whole adjustment center. And one of my friends, one of the officers, Mr. Yahtzee, he said, Reams, when you come here, you was a little short, fat fella, and look at you now. He was happy because he was physical fitness type guy. He said, boy, look at you now. I said, yeah, it's all with y'all's help. I said, y'all the one did it. But I'm talking about discipline and liking discipline. The other thing is about those jails. Everybody that ran them was all World War II veterans. Military-minded. All of them. They came out of the military. Some of the brothers was in Korea, and they came out with the GI Bill. They got a 2 or 4 year degree, right? So they were consuls. That was really a big move. From the cotton patch to a consular, shoot, that's big stuff. And that's where everybody was. They either come from the cotton patch. Well, all of us come from the cotton patch. But when we got out there, some went to school on the GI Bill. That's where I found out about it. All the consulars went to school, went on the GI Bill. I don't want to just spend all this time talking about this stuff. But several years ago, I went up to juvenile hall. And the head counselor came down, Mr. Whitman. He'd been there since the 50s. And then, what's her name? He was kind of mean when he was young, but my son was in juvenile hall. So I went up there late at night. Brooks got old, got his diamonds on and everything, Probably drive a Cadillac kind of. So I was talking to Brooks, and Mr. Whitman came in and he walked over to a file. He looked at me. He said, Brooks, that's the worst one we ever had. And Brooks agreed. He said, Brooks, that's the worst one we ever had. And they'd been there. This is in the 90s. So that was a long time back, Okay, let me get on. For the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Son of Adam, find leisure in my service, then I shall fill up your heart with contentment. And I shall shut up your poverty. And if you do not do it, I shall keep your hand engaged in work, and I shall not close up your poverty. Other people look, we have property in California. We have property here. That's why I was laughing at my daughter. I said, if I'm a loser, what's everybody else? So we got 8 pieces of property. I said, we go around to everybody, y'all may not, or you pretend not to know, but everybody at big universities, remember all the programs I would take y'all to, remember what they do? You Imam the Musa's daughter, and you got a carte blanche to go everywhere. I said, so everybody, I said, you remember all the films and all the stuff? Somebody knows. I said, if I'm a loser, then what's your mama and them? And what's them coons that y'all be talking to in California? What about them? I'm a loser. And the whole government got all of y'all working together against me, and I'm here just as happy as I can be. And I wouldn't pretend. When I say I'm happy, I have never, as of right now, I'm getting happier. And that's because of commitment. This is what I believe. I believe this hadith. I actually believe it. Self-contentment. If you don't find leisure and fun, your vacation, in my work, that's what it says, right? Find leisure, then that's the only. If you do that, you're gonna get self-contentment. Okay, I'm not bragging. I'm saying that's what I have, and ain't nothing they can do about it. Cause my sons, they done lived long enough. They in their 50s, so they know what they're doing. Okay, and they've lived through it. And all their friends is dead. They don't have any. They don't have. Not only male friends, some of the sisters is dead. Okay, man. Okay. And they can't do anything to my daughters. Nothing. Because their mother would go crazy. She wouldn't know whether she'd spill all the beans. She wouldn't know whether they did it or what it had to do with what. She wouldn't believe them. They can't do anything to them. They're all home free. So any apprehension I had about anything, they took it away. With my sons, they'd send them to the penitentiary. It makes you a little worried, but then when you come out and you see, man, these brothers here is almost 60 years old. They old Negroes. Last time I was out there, they said, I said, you niggas as old as I am. What are you asking me about something for? Y'all almost the same age as I am. You know, just about. I mean, you know. What I mean is when you get past 50, whether you're 50 or 60, that's different than if you're 8 or 18. That's different. And there's difference between 8 and 28. You know what I mean? But it's not as much difference between 55 and 75. You're stepping into senior citizenship. Anyway, look, this is hadith. This is my favorite hadith. If you find leisure in Allah's service, Allah gonna give you contentment. Okay, I'm trying to sell that idea because right now where we are, it don't seem like a person would be able to do it alone. Never have been. It's gonna take other people. They're gonna have to speed up too, whatever it is they're doing, because it ain't. You don't know how much time is left. And, you know, people got families. They have to ask, who would they trust their family with? People that have ideas like we do, fix the environment, fix the weather, fix this, fix that, or a boss man. He have never seen a war. This idiot, he ain't going nowhere. Nowhere. Well, we've given, what's the name, $40 billion. $40 billion, the niggas don't need no money here? And you giving $40 million to white folks, and it ain't, they're giving them the old weapons. And they getting new weapons. That new money, they're not sending no package of money over there, bundling up no money. We're sending you $40 billion so you can spend it wherever you want. That $40 billion is going into the arms industry to help them get all their new shiny weapons. In a war, if war was a crime, what about Iraq the first go round? What about Iraq the second go around? If oppression was illegal, what about the Israelis? They don't do nothing but oppression. These people are crazy. Okay, so there's no hope in, well, they might clean up a little of this. They might, no. We can't trust that. We have to do this ourselves. That's what we're talking about, help on. Not to do anything personally, but to organize to prevent them from doing any more harm. It's going to take big organization. And to help refix things, or else this time around will go the same way as the historical. We've been at this periods in history, and 90, except for one time, time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Musa did get the Bani Israel across the water. That didn't do them no good. They wandered around so long, it didn't do them no whole lot of good, right? Everybody else, Sodom and Gomorrah, everybody just collapsed, basically. Rome collapsed. Britain collapsed. Babylon collapsed. Babylon is where Abraham was in Babylon. That's where he was, Okay. Well, who should we trust? Should we trust somebody that don't never want to do nothing but kill other people, or should we trust ourselves? Can we run the world better than him? We can do it.
I've never ran the world, but
you can't do no better. You can't do no worse. You can't do no worse because it's possible. You can't be wrong every time, see, because you're near. These people are wrong. What they say, the road to hell is paved with good intention. They don't want you to have any good intention. They say good niyyah, opposite of Islam. The road to hell is paved with people with good intentions. That's absolutely wrong. If you got good intentions, you got a better chance of doing right than if you got bad intentions, right? It's just the rule. They don't put it like that. Let me speed up a little. This thing about contentment, I was saying, technically, I'm very happy for myself. But when I look around at the world, at the people, technically everybody, I said, man, it don't look too good, It don't look too good. And the people are perplexed. They're going crazy. What do we do? And here come old dumb Biden. Wow, that's terrible. He's right, crying with tears, I tell you. Oh, we got to fix something. We're going to got to get the gun. It wouldn't do no good. When I was a kid, everybody had guns. There wasn't even no rules about it. Every house had a gun. And in the country, everybody had a pistol, shotguns, 22s. We had little 22s. I was just a baby, to practice on. Everybody, that's what people had. Believe it or not, remember I was telling you about Frico Ranch School for Boys? Do you know what we did there? We not only, at summer camp, not only swimming, where I learned the breaststroke, not only archery, which I was already good at, but rifles. In the penitentiary, in those days, we shot rifles. That's how common guns was. Everybody, there was nothing bad about a gun. And all these killings, they didn't happen. But they have ran everybody crazy. It's beyond, see, at first you can feel the CIA, the deep state, putting a few things together so they can take the guns of, but it's beyond that now. It's things jumping off that they didn't plan. You know, it's killings going off that they didn't plan. See, it's easy for them to get the ball rolling, but they can't control where it go after a while. That's the way it is now. That's why all of these things are picking up speed and weight, and they can't control it. They come in every now and then and do one, let's kill some Negroes. So we'll make the Negroes want to give up all their guns and call the police for protection. Oh, we'll kill all the poor little white kids like they did up north. And that fool, what was his name, come on the radio on the thing talking about they didn't kill all those kids. The white man. Yeah, the old dumb white man. He's the police, of course, because they actually was killed. And you don't come saying it was fake, it was made up when they go into the funeral home with 7 and 8 year old children. Anyway, so this right now, let me see here. Alex Jones. So I'm very happy about life myself, but sad for everyone else. Then the hadith on contentment, I raised it, you know. We can make a difference, but it seems like the time is going real quick, where to make a difference, you have to do so much, and you have to do it so fast. Okay. So for me personally, I'm neither helpless nor hopeless. I'm living the good life. I am, because I already know that I'm doing what I can, and I already have all the scripture backing up. That's what makes it right, is you got the scripture pointing the way and backing you up. Okay. But for everybody else, this war industry and everything, people still not getting the picture with all this going on. They're looking for stuff that won't solve the problem. That ain't going to help. They're looking everywhere but where they should be looking. We didn't just pop up and get here, so we're going to have to work to get down with this. Okay. But the bad news for Boss Man is he's not the ruler anymore, and he got to get used to that. So maybe this is a period he has to adjust on a new historical situation, or die a death of agony. The death of agony, like America is not the great anymore. America's falling apart. I'm telling you, look at the people's self-image. How would a person feel instead of when they go into school, when they come out, if they're a doctor, maybe they're going to be a doctor, they owe $200,000, $300,000. And if you don't pay it in a hurry, I hear that it's got interest. An old line, the forgetful man, talking about he was going to get rid of the student loans. And I was telling my kids, because I would help them at college and everything. Well, I did get a loan. So you got a damn loan. Yeah, you see, it's good for your credit. And I said, you don't need, I said, I don't use this stuff. I don't use it. Anyway, I didn't argue with them. But they like getting in debt. I said, of course, y'all are crazy, but it's okay. We make do all. Seek to have everything, died in grief, like strength, leaders, cowards, and God, debt and oppression of men. If you owe people money, you feel oppressed. Okay, let me speed up. The experience that we have is regularity, redundancy, but it points the way. What we've dealt with in life points the way to what we have to do. Their most experienced people are amateurs in the face of history. That includes the Hashims, the Abdul Maliks. All of the stuff they did it for fanfare. They run to the university and make a talk, and the people cheer and clap. That's stupidity. The boss man just offered them that stuff. It's a theater, like going to the show. When boss man pulled the plug, you wonder, I used to be the big star. Well, boss man pulled the plug on them Negroes all the time. He ain't gonna pull the plug on me because I'm not getting on the show. Did nobody come in and say, I say, they don't have to. I like looking in the mirror, y'all. I don't have to have no audience. A bunch of bums out there jumping up and down and then about nothing. Hashim Alauddin, a government agent, he was there. He married 2 Iranian women. And then he told the people at our masjid, that right there, we was in the book room. All the little tenders from Berkeley was coming. Imam Musa, would you hook me up with Hashim? Would you? I said, well, I should have said I'll hook you up with the brother and myself, but I didn't do that. That's what the Negroes do. No, the imams, if they want to break up a masjid, they send 3, 4 cutie pies. The imam would get 2 of them for himself, and the ones that he can't marry, he'll let the rest of the community have them. But that's the way you could start your fitna, just send 4 cutie pies from over at Howard Rye, and they, bam. Anyway, so we have what we have now, and we have a blessing period. What we're going to do with it? The people that they pass stuff for knowledgeable people, Hashim Alauddin, you couldn't melt a black woman and pour her on me. And he said it was sisters there. They heard him. All the sisters heard it. And they hated him. Literally hate, Now, but you could imagine, that was during a time and forget about sending the young guy, Malcolm's grandson, down to Mexico to get beat with a baseball bat and killed. These people are ruthless. There's some mean, ruthless people, man. And there's no reason to bother get Malcolm killed. He's not going to make any, look, I watched him the day he got out, and I watched him at all the programs. And some of the programs, I'd stay at the place where he was staying at, and the brother would tell me he don't have no Islamic behavior at all. And you go to a program, he got a tender with him, a cutie pie, at a Muslim program. And they ain't married, and everybody there, this is the law, and they stand in the same room. He ain't married, he ain't nothing, it ain't nothing. Because he's not a technical Muslim and he don't care about this. And he's talking about my sheikh is Hashim Alauddin. Hashim don't look out for him and take care of him. He gets him killed or sets him up to get killed. We got some ruthless people running around. Some of our friends got some right ideas, but they're too stiff. They can't laugh at themselves, and they can't laugh at other people. They can't, they're not loose. They're just a little too tight. A helpful person is, in this day and time, is like running into, find an oyster in a, some, whatever they find. Internal, non-internal. Internal or, no, intentional or non-intentional. Basically, we got to get busy because there's no non-intentional people or person or organization going to come and fix the whole world. And a partial fixing will not do. I fix this little part over here. Fix that little part over there. Non-intentional, that is about terms on boss man. We're not accepting boss man's terms. That's basically what that meant. We're not accepting boss man's terms. Like I say, he can come by and visit, or he can suggest, but he don't know what he's doing, and he's getting worse every day. See, he'll help you according to how much control that he wants. What we're trying to do and been trying to do is say, boss man, this is a big job. Okay, would you get out of the way? Okay, if you don't want to get out of the way, then you could help fix it. But boss man, he ain't going to help, and he's not getting out of the way unless he's running it. He don't know how to do anything else. He can't get out of his own way. He can't, and nothing he can do. And all the people have told him, boss man, you could take a chance on this guy. If he goes wrong, hell, we'll just shoot the guy. Nobody will say anything. We could shoot the reporter from Palestine. We shoot them. We shoot niggas every day. We just throw them off a bridge. Don't make no difference. Nothing's going to happen. So either don't do, we're not going to say dump us off the bridge or nothing, you know, which we're not. But the medicine that's needed for the earth today is going to be bitter. And boss man can't take bitter medicine. He's like a child. You got to put it plenty of sugar, plenty of cough syrup with, you know. They can't take that black drought. You ever remember syrup or black drought and stuff like that? Or kerosene and sugar. If people knew what they used to give us, look, the stuff they killed modern children. They pouring kerosene. Here's the kerosene, little sugar, you know, to get your fever down. Yeah, it'll heal you. If you live through it, it'll kill you.
I don't remember that. But
Syrup or black drought. Black drought. Good God Almighty. Man alive.
used to hide that in the back of the.
Yeah, because this is terrible. It's terrible anyway. But those were extreme times. It wasn't a lot of medicine. And we didn't go to doctors like, you know, like dentists and stuff like that. Everybody goes to the dentist now. First time I went to the dentist when I went to jail. You know, I went to jail, juvenile, and I went to the clinic, the SRCC, Southern, where they give you all your health and shots. You got to go there, get all, and then they send you to the jail. It's a classification center, you know, Southern Reception Center or Northern Reception Center. And the first time I went to Southern Reception Center, the next time I went to Northern. Anyway, we are stable. We don't care about this stuff. They could go to HELL. But it has to be relatively soon. The people they got, the Abdul Maliks, the Bahias, the family members, they can't fix anything. They won't. They don't know. They're still working for Boston. After all of this stuff, and me sitting here talking about it all the time, them dummies, and I call them dummies, they're still will say something stupid like I'm going to listen to it or believe it. You know, just because they may hit your money 4 or 5 times, you know, stuff like that. I don't get upset. This is normal. That's what they were put here to do. You know, we'll move fast. We're going to clown care and Muslim legal fund. Da, 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 da. And we have exhausted all remedies. You know, like when you go to court, before you get to the Supreme Court, you got to exhaust all your remedies all along the way. Then you move up. Okay. Okay. This is a beautiful time, and I don't feel guilty about being happy. Just let everybody know, like, I couldn't get any happier, but I don't feel guilty about being happy. You know, just like I didn't feel guilty about getting a long prison sentence. I felt sad about the brothers that did get long sentences. But I know that the Qadr of Allah had something else to do out here, and Allah had already hooked it up. I do know this, wouldn't nobody want the job that I have or had, except the first job, you know, big nigga, plenty of money, riding. They didn't love that for a while, you know. That was temporary. That stuff was to teach you, to give you the game, and also teach you about wealth and power. And you won't sell nothing for nothing because you know what it produces, nothing. People that don't know the value of money, they'll sell, they say, I never had it, so I don't know. I'll sell this for, I know it's worth something, I'll sell it. They don't know the value of it. Contentment, once you never had it, and once you have it, you know the difference. You say, I am not taking that, what they got. Boss man don't have it. He can't give it to you. Just like you can't come back from somewhere you've never been. He can't give you contentment because he's never had it. If he had contentment, he wouldn't be doing the things that he do. If boss man had contentment, he wouldn't be starting a war with everybody. And now I'm going to try to start one with China and Russia. The 2 biggest, baddest boys left in town, and he's going to pick a fight with them. And he's old. Every fight he done had with little guys has come back. He done had fights with Iraq, His eyes was bloody, nose was bleeding. He's bleeding from kidneys and behind, right? And fighting the little guys. This man is a damn fool. And he picks China that got some more money, Russia that's got more size and more oil, and ain't nobody cooperating with them on nothing. Right? Everybody's saying, yeah, boss, you right. Mm-hmm. And they buying up all the Russian oil they can get. And they did a survey about the people. They said it ain't nothing but a few European powers pretending to be with them. Right? You can't have no Africans with you because they said, we don't want no niggas. We send Africans and Arabs trying to send them over there. We don't want no Arabs and no niggas. Go home, nigga. Nigga, go home. That's what they got to sign. I like these because they got blonde hair and blue eyes. People is dumb. And then they want the UN Negroes to vote on their side. It's stupid. Everything now is stupid. It's just ridiculous. It don't, And now this is not a big, years ago, it would be a psychological discovery, and research has showed that the white man is a fool. Not now. It's just right there. It's a damn fool. Okay. I would go, some of the legal stuff I will mention, uh, Howard and University District of Columbia. I know they're not there like they was in the old days at Howard to fight for truth and justice, like during the old days. But maybe they still got a little something there. So we'll be dealing with them. And I'll close with this week's work. Okay, everything is done, basically. The other day we took the beef patties and we made some beef patties down there. You just put all the hot stuff with it, and then, of course, I don't taste them, no, but we got beef patties down there. I just finished the thing of mac and cheese. We finished two big things of rice. Those are rice with vegetables, because of the foreign crew will feed that to them. And 4 pans of chicken. That'll get us started. And all we'll have to do to make on the spot is salad. That's all we have to fix is salad. So most of that food, oh yeah, yesterday we did the French toast and something else. We did the French toast and the sausages. That's right. Uh, we'll see about whatever day, whatever shows up. We'll just go out, and if it rains out, we'll keep the food and put it in the freezer. I mean, we're not gonna die. But we're not gonna do fundraising over there. We're just, not that we don't need the dust, but a lot of looked out for us. Do you know when it says from way back? I was bragging on this thing about several years ago, and Khadijah was listening, and I said something about I haven't been broke in 50 years. Anybody remember that? I've been having money for 50 years, and that's when they gave him the money. And then right after that, people stole the first shift of money, then the next shift, and they figure, what you say now? You ain't been broke in 50 years. I said, well, actually, I'm not now. And plus, it's different. It's like different. Like it's not that you can't go broke, but for instance, we own all this property. I could sell a piece of property every 4 or 5 years and buy a mansion somewhere out in the woods every 4 or 5 years with the leftover money. But we're going to develop here. I look forward to developing here. But we look forward to a good team. It don't look too good for what it's. I wouldn't sign up for no other team but this one right now. I just wouldn't do it. It's not. It don't look too good. None of them. Not one single team. Boss Man's team, the Negro team, the Arab team. I wouldn't sign up. I would. I think we got it going on. We're not obligated to do any more. We just want to do more because people, otherwise, it don't look too good for humanity. It just don't look too good. It's not a big. It's not a big discovery now either. Big historic. They discovered. I'm gonna close with this. The white man. I can't mind calling the white man. But when we was over on 8th Street, there was a program on NPR. It was about a big discovery. So it had to be in the 90s. Because I don't know, you notice when you ever came in, the radio was on downstairs all the time. So I always listened to so the white man made a big discovery back then that the earth was alive. He said yes, and he was the recent discovery. And they was talking about Yerg and all that. If you put a lot of stuff in a big jar, it would produce something, right? So that's when I knew he was crazy, for sure. A card-carrying idiot. You know, I knew it. I knew he didn't have no help, no hope then. If he discovered that the Earth was alive in the 1990s, you know, I just figured Boss Man was the biggest fool since Leatherhead. It's a long story about Leatherhead. But he was the biggest fool in town. Leatherhead, there's a lot of stories about him. He lost his head and couldn't find it, and all that kind of stuff. But he's the biggest fool in town. Leather had all kind of stories about him, but Boss Man is dumber than he is. And I have lost all physical, psychological respect for an idiot. It's just an idiot, that's all. And anything he give you, it's not worth it now. And remember, responsibility. We're responsible for what we around, you know, our families and all of that stuff. And our relatives that have no idea about what's going on. So when you know, that makes you responsible a little bit. So dear believers, I feel we're responsible. We're asking here and world's Muslims, let's join and solve these problems. And it'll be a lot of fun. Well, it has been for me. Once you get hooked up with contentment, it's different. Hey, you can take my word for it. Contentment is big. It's bigger than anything so far. It's bigger than money, girls, everything. And remember, the white folks in Hollywood and the Negroes got everything that they're supposed to make them happy. Then why did the man jump up and pop the other Negro in his face at the World's Fair, whatever they call it, right? The man told him it's the devil. He didn't know what made him do that. And after it happened, he thought, why did I do that? The devil. That's what, what's the name told him? Yeah, the Negro, he's doing all right. He's still got the same old wife and so he's got some of the keys. And yeah, I like his lectures, you know. But anyway, it ain't nobody else out there. Here or nowhere else. So, alhamdulillah, are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, a couple. It's kind of random, but brother said the key to mentioning Jesus Christ would be to also be a good person and a servant of God. May peace be with you.
About mentioning what?
No, I don't know. Someone said the key to mentioning Jesus Christ would be to also be a good person and a servant of God. May peace be with you.
Okay. Isa alayhi salam, I mentioned his name. He's a good man. He's a good person. He was a prophet. He wasn't a son of God. And we include a lot of his stated principles in what we do. Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. You're supposed to have said that. Lord, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. They're dummies. They literally dummies. Same thing we say. That's what he's reportedly have said. Lord, forgive them. They know not what they do. You know. Anything else?
Yeah, and there's a brother that's been reaching out saying his name. This is Brother Zainul from Haiti. I previously gave him your contact information, but he's been calling me on Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
So I'll follow up and let him know. It's like, hey, I'm not the Imam. His Imam number.
Okay, well, the brother, the thing is still on. Okay, the brothers from Haiti, a group of brothers called, it's like people call from all over, what's the name, they're in Tanzania and stuff. Right now, I know they need help, but we're not able to right now. Sometime, and we hate to say that, but when we strike it rich or when we get even able, because you got to realize, although we mentioned that we raised so many thousand the last couple of weeks ago, the new month's bills is here and they just stack up, and that you got to get some fresh dust. That stuff goes whew, just like that. So. When we're able, we'll do just like we always did. Anybody come through, we start counting it out, because it's good to get rid of it before it gets stuck on you. I'll just say, look, whenever we can, anybody that need, we're going to share what we have. That's what we've always done that, and we always will. And that's probably what helped with contentment, because you're not trying to hold on to something that'll take you down. In closing, remember what Imam Ghazali said, whether it was a hadith or what have you. They asked him, what things should we possess? He said, that's what you don't lose in the event of shipwreck. See, in the old days, people would carry their money bags, their gold bags, and when that ship go down, that gold, if you carry enough of it, it weighs down. So you cut that boy. What things should we possess? Yourself. That which you don't lose in the event of shipwreck, because they used to have a lot of shipwrecks then. They don't have as many now. Thank y'all very much for listening and paying attention. And anybody that feels that we may have slighted someone, whatever we said, we could have said 90% more. You know, we just said 5 or 10%. And it's to help. Everything we put out is a tonic and a medicine. And we make dua for us. The people that's trying to cut our throat, they stuffed and got so dull it ain't working. It ain't working. Something is wrong with all you can do is look at them and shake your head and say, hey, you know, because when Allah hook you up, you hooked up. Aqula qawli hadha wa astaghfirullah li wa lakum. Alhamdulillah.